rules out any possibility of a resurrection of anybody to begin with. Several verses, which biblicists conveniently ignore, clearly rule out any kind of rising from the dead by humanity. Ecclesiastes 3:19-21 in the Revised Standard Version provides the most prominent refutation of anybody being resurrected. It states, quote, "For the fate of the sons of men and the fate of the beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, and man has no advantage," I repeat, no advantage over the beast, "for all is vanity. All go to one place, all are from the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knows whether the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of the beast goes down to the earth?" Unquote. The key elements in this quotation are, first, the fate of men and the fate of beasts is the same. Second, man has no advantage over the beasts. Third, all go to one place, not two or three. And fourth, no one knows that the spirit of man goes upward. Beyond doubt, these verses rule out the existence of heaven, hell, purgatory, or immortality. Otherwise, man would have an advantage over the beasts, unless the Bible's defenders allege beasts go to the same places as man. Other verses also rule out any possibility of a resurrection. Job 7:9 says, quote, "He that goes down to the grave shall come up no more." And Isaiah 26:14 says, "They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise." Unquote. Both of which rule out any rising from the dead, physically, spiritually, or otherwise. Ecclesiastes 9:5 says, "For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten." Unquote. That rules out heaven. Otherwise, there will be a reward. There are also other verses that rule out a resurrection or any possibility of immortality. Some oppose, either directly or indirectly, any kind of ascendancy from the dead by humanity. But on the other hand, others allege the opposite. So the biblical position on what occurs to someone after death is by no means clear. Verses such as those in Ecclesiastes, Isaiah, and Job say that when you're dead, and that's that. There is no more. As they say at the end of those cartoons, that's all, folks. A fourth and final problem with the resurrection becomes immediately evident to anyone who realizes that it's of no real consequence when compared to other biblical events. How many people came into the world as full-grown adults, as did Adam and Eve in Genesis 1:27 and 2:7? Now that's something worth talking about. That's something worth crowing about. Elijah never died at all. He just went straight to heaven in his chariot. 2 Kings 2:11. According to Genesis 5:22-24, Enoch never died either. Apparently he went straight to heaven as well. In Genesis 18:11 and Genesis 21:1-3, Isaac was born to a woman who had passed through menopause. And according to Hebrews 7:1-3, now get this, Melchizedek had no father, no mother, no beginning, and no end. How's that for fantastic achievements? Even Jesus had a father and a mother, and some argue from Scripture a beginning as well. It should also be noted that Jesus did not raise himself from the dead, as many assume. According to Scripture, he was raised by someone else. The text is quite clear that God raised him. He did not raise himself. A few of the many verses that prove as much are Acts 3:15, which says, quote, "And killed the Prince of Life, whom God hath raised from the dead. Acts 13:30, which says, but God raised him from the dead. And Acts 5:30, which says, the God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew. So the resurrection miracle was not as spectacular as many think. Clearly, Jesus wasn't quite the miracle worker he's made out to be. And it should also be noted that an empty tomb does not prove a resurrection occurred. That's another topic within itself. On page 37 in the book entitled The Battle for the Resurrection, apologist Norman Geisler admits as much by stating, quote, the empty tomb in itself does not prove the resurrection of Christ any more than a missing body in a grave proves someone has resurrected. Neither does an empty tomb plus a series of appearances prove the resurrection. The original body could have disappeared, and the appearances could have been of someone else, unquote, Geisler. So in summary and in essence, we have provided more than enough evidence to prove that the resurrection is contradictory, inconsequential, and essentially impossible from a biblical perspective. That completes our presentation, and please join us later for the 15th edition of Biblical Errancy Commentary, when we'll continue showing why the Bible is nothing more than the flawed composition of some fallible human beings. Thank you for listening.